Next question.
Good afternoon, Jim Lewis, Salem City Club member. My question is on redistricting. And yesterday I heard the Secretary of State said when it came to the legislature doing the redistricting, no way. In fact, she's already started to plan on doing it. And then the political scientists here today, looking backwards historically, now the legislature is not going to be able to do that. But I think what both of those folks lose sight of is the human factor. What a great deal for Oregonians if this year the bipartisan group that's looking at redistricting gets it done. And I would say that more than anything else, at the beginning of the session, what a great message to Oregonians. My question is to the two legislatures, is there any chance of that happening?
Yeah, Representative Berger finished with where I'll start. So I think my interpretation of what Secretary of State has said is that she doesn't want to do it, but that she would rather it be done by the legislature. I'm going to sort of the political calculations around it for Secretary of State are very tricky, right? And it's not, it's not the favorite, most fun job. But so my understanding is she doesn't really want to do it, but it understands that she needs to be ready because the number of times it's actually happened by the legislature are fewer rather than more. In terms of whether we should, I think everybody that I've talked to offers sort of two principles. Yeah, we should get it done, and we should get it done right. With the budget, there's no option of just getting it right? There's no alternative. We have to do it. Nobody else gets to do it. There is a particular importance, I think, with with redistricting to make sure we get it right, understanding that there's more vehicles to do it. I had a bill in the last session to start rethinking how we do redistricting. And I wasn't saying that we should change redistricting last year because I think reform efforts in this past year, it would have been impossible to view them without viewing them through a lens of this redistricting. So everybody applying judgment to it would be thinking, is this going to make my lines better or the lines of the party that I prefer better? But I think if we were to, in 2 years, do something, maybe after we get done with this redistricting, do something to explore how we should do redistricting, we could do it sort of behind and I'll say this because there's a political science professor in the room, sort of behind a Rawlsian veil of ignorance, not knowing, where, thank you for that. One person that is as dorky as me. Okay, I'll explain. So John Rawls, political scientist, said in a just society you should make decisions behind a veil of ignorance, as if you didn't know the position you were in when you make it. So, for instance, in my family, when I was a kid, I had a brother and of similar age, and we would, and there would be like one piece of pie, and my dad would say, one cuts, the other chooses, right? So then, and that sort of, and the reason is because then the cutter is cutting behind a veil of ignorance, and so you cut very fairly. Or if you're my brother, you cut a very strange shape, hoping that I won't be able to interpret the advantage as well as him. And I think that's kind of where we are, right? So anyway, I think this stuff is I think it's going to be really tricky. Part of the other thing is, for the people who really want to get it, who want to get it right and get it done, in the getting it done, understand that getting it done might not mean, oh, just makes it more fair. It might mean doing the political calculation and drawing a set of lines to get you a majority. And that could cut both ways and might be more smartly, more justifiable lines, or might not. So I think it's a fascinating question. I share a desire to send a signal that we get this done and to hew to a principle that we got to get it right.